There's some movement in the quarterback market, but not exactly the news that we've been waiting for here on Steelers Talk. It surrounds Russell Wilson, and before I reveal what that is, make sure you guys like the video if you haven't already. If you want more Steelers updates, the best way to help out the channel, guys, is to click that thumbs up icon. So if you appreciate all the breaking news action that we're getting to you throughout the first week of NFL free agency, make sure you click that thumbs up icon and like today's video. So the news that we're talking about today surrounds Russell Wilson, which is that he's got a couple of visits set up here. Ian Rappaport reported just now a rare quarterback visit. Steelers former starter Russell Wilson is scheduling a visit to the Browns this week for me and Tom Pelissero, a potential option in Cleveland. Remember, Cleveland traded for Eagles backup quarterback and former Steelers first-round pick Kenny Pickett earlier this week. They've reportedly been in on Kirk Cousins if he would become available. Apparently, Atlanta is looking to keep Cousins in-house there in Atlanta, so it looks like the Browns could be shifting their focus to Russell Wilson. Then Adam Schefter just reported as well. Sources, free agent quarterback Russell Wilson is scheduled to fly tonight to Cleveland to visit with the Browns on Thursday, so that is tomorrow, before being scheduled to fly to New York on Thursday night to visit Friday with the Giants. So Russell Wilson is lining up potential suitors here, and there's also some reports that the Titans would be in on Russell Wilson as well if he does not return to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the reason why I think this is good news for Steelers fans, guys, is because it's very obvious that the fallback option for Pittsburgh, which is Russell Wilson at this point in time, is lining up visits, which is going to put a timetable on the Steelers to make a final decision when it comes to the Aaron Rodgers saga. I don't know what's happening with the Rodgers situation right now. According to Adam Schefter, both the Steelers and the Giants contacted Rodgers this week, gave them an offer, and then Rodgers has not contacted either team in quite a while. So is he in the darkness right now and he's not having contact with anybody? Maybe trying to figure out what he wants to do. Is he just mulling things over? Do I want to take more money with the Giants or do I want to try to win with the Steelers? Are the Minnesota Vikings still involved on this thing? Who knows? But, Aaron Rodgers is somebody, guys, where you look at his numbers from last season, they're really not that bad. 63% completion percentage. He was just under 3,900 yards, passing 28 touchdowns to 11 interceptions with a 48.2 QBR. But keep in mind, guys, he had 18 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions in the final 10 games of his Jets tenure. So he got better as the season went on, whereas a guy like Russell Wilson got worse as the season went on here in Pittsburgh. Now, my stance on the Steelers quarterback position has not changed. I prefer Aaron Rodgers over Russell Wilson, but it's not like a chasm, all right? If it costs like $10+ million more per season to get Aaron Rodgers, I would rather the team just bring back Russ. But apparently, Russ has had some soiled kind of relationships in Pittsburgh because, according to Jerry, he kind of leaked a report to Jerry Dulac earlier in the offseason that he kind of placing blame on Arthur Smith for the offensive collapse late in the season. And apparently, Arthur Smith did not appreciate that too much. But the reason why I prefer Rodgers over Russ, guys, is because I think Rodgers brings more to the table than Russ does at this point. I think that they have a lot of similar qualities. They're both Super Bowl champions, experienced playoff veterans. They both like to throw the ball down the field. They both have good arm talent. They both protect the football. But I think Rodgers provides value in two specific ways. The first way is that I think he's better post-snap processor. So Russell Wilson's really good on his first read, but then after that, he can really struggle. But with Rodgers, he can get to his second, third, and fourth progression. And then also, Rodgers gets the ball out faster than Russell Wilson does, and it leads to less sacks. Some numbers to show that is that Aaron Rodgers was 6th in average time to throw last year. Russ was 28th, and you guys can see the resulting sack percentages. Rodgers just had a 6.3 sack percentage last year, over 2 percentage points lower than Russell Wilson. So if you want the offense to stay more on track, I think Aaron Rodgers is your guy just because he gets the ball out so much faster than Russell Wilson does at this point in their respective careers. But like I said, guys, the similarities between these two teams are between these two players is very apparent. They're both reduced former superstars, and the way that they're reduced is in their athleticism. They used to really be great out-of-structure playmakers, scramblers, that type of thing. Neither Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers necessarily have that in their bag anymore. At this point in their respective careers, at their age, they need to be able to win from the pocket. But I think that Aaron Rodgers, because of his ability to process past his first read and because he gets the ball out faster, I think he's more suited to play that kind of brand of quote-unquote Tom Brady football where you're just sitting in the pocket, you're getting the ball out fast, and you're winning within structure. And there's a lot of people out there comparing the stats between Rodgers and Wilson from last season. And Wilson did have a better season statistically than Rodgers last year. But you take a look at how they performed under the same offensive play caller, Russell Wilson with Nathaniel Hackett in 2022 and Rodgers with Nathaniel Hackett in 2024. You got to put it in the context that Nathaniel Hackett is the worst offensive play caller in the National Football League, and he has been for the last several seasons. All right, so Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, when they were put in the same terrible offensive system, Rodgers was actually significantly better than Russell Wilson was. Now, it's not a perfect apples-to-apples comparison. Russ was dealing with an injury that year, of course. You can make arguments about the personnel. Of course, Hackett was the head coach in Denver, whereas he was just the OC in New York, and of course, he ended up getting demoted. So it's not a perfect apples-to-apples comparison, but I do think that's some context to put out there that I do think Rodgers is the better quarterback right now. And I think that the fact that the Steelers and the Giants both prefer Rodgers over Russell Wilson at this point is something to keep in mind in terms of who the league thinks is the better quarterback, which I believe to be Aaron Rodgers. And apparently the Steelers and Giants agree with me on that. Some other thing here. Dianna Russini says Vikings decision makers are still evaluating their options at quarterback, including the possibility of signing Aaron Rodgers. The four-time MVP is intrigued by the idea of playing in Minnesota. For now, it's a waiting game, sources tell me. So when it comes to this report here, we were kind of wondering, why is Aaron Rodgers not just signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers? And I speculated on our Steelers Talk Live show earlier today and yesterday, by the way, that a potential reason could be that Aaron Rodgers may want to go play for Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings. If you compare the Vikings situation to the Steelers situation, the Vikings, just won a significant amount of games with Sam Darnold as their quarterback last year. Aaron Rodgers might be saying, hey, man, if I can join forces with Justin Jefferson, if I can join forces with Jordan Addison, if I can join forces with Kevin O'Connell, one of the best head coaches in the National Football League, who runs a very similar system to what Aaron ran in Green Bay during his MVP seasons, I would probably keep the door open to Minnesota if I were Rodgers as well, if Minnesota was willing to entertain the possibility. And according to this report from Dianna Russini, it certainly seems like a possibility that Rodgers could land in Minnesota. So, definitely pressure's on for Pittsburgh to get this deal done with Rodgers within the next 24 hours before Russell Wilson could potentially sign with the Cleveland Browns on his visit tomorrow, because it's very possible at this point, guys, Rodgers ends up with the Minnesota Vikings, and then Rodgers ends up with the Cleveland Browns, and what are the Pittsburgh Steelers left with? Nothing. That's who they're left with, all right? So the Steelers need to act quickly. Who would you want to be the QB1 of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Who is Pittsburgh's QB1 next season? Type AR for Aaron Rodgers. Type RW for Russell Wilson. Or if you think it's going to be somebody else, maybe Mason Rudolph, maybe somebody else, let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about a new signing the Steelers made today at corner. But before I tell you about that player, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. Let me ask you guys a question here. What do you guys have to do in order to get ready for a first date? You get a new haircut, you clean your car, you get your fit together, you get yourself looking good. All that stuff is important, guys, but deodorant is an absolute non-negotiable. That's where my favorite whole body deodorant comes in with Mando. Mando is safe to use anywhere on your body and is clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. Also, Mando's entire line of products are baking soda free, paraben free, and you can choose from a variety of fresh scents like bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, or Pro Sport. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code and link. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers because it comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like a mini body wash or deodorant wipes, plus you get free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners only, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code chat when you go to shopmando.com. That code equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you use code chat at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando Whole Body Deodorant today. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are signing former Jets cornerback Brandin Echols here in NFL free agency. We still don't have details in terms of the years and the money and all that stuff at the time of me recording this video, but Brandin Echols is a pretty decent depth corner, guys. And, it's being reported that the Pittsburgh Steelers plan to sign Darius Slay when he is eventually released by the Philadelphia Eagles as a post-June 1st designated cut. And, Echols is the type of guy that can come in if, God forbid, Joey Porter Jr. or Darius Slay gets hurt on the outside. Echols has 5 interceptions in his 4 years with the New York Jets. He has been kind of a rotational piece. He played over 400 snaps last year for the New York Jets, so he does have playing experience, and he has recent playing experience with the Jets. Last year, in 2024, he had 2 interceptions, 1 tackle for loss, and 3 PBUs. He had 40 total tackles. They had some injuries that they dealt with in the secondary last year, so Echols had to come in and play for them. He did get 2 interceptions. He had 5 during his 4-year tenure with the New York Jets. He is seen as somebody that is a very good depth piece at the cornerback position. So I think it's good depth, and as long as the Steelers are getting him at the proper price tag, I think he is a solid addition to Mike Tomlin's defensive roster here and a good piece to the cornerback room altogether. So to recap, the Steelers' move so far in free agency still have not signed a starting quarterback, now 3 days in to NFL free agency, but they did make a move at pass catcher at DK Metcalf. They traded a second-round pick to Seattle to get Metcalf and gave him a new 5-year, $150 million deal to keep him in Pittsburgh for the next half-decade. They're also bringing back Jaylen Warren. They gave him the second-round tender at 1 year, $5.346 million. If a team wants to poach Warren away from the Steelers, they would have to give the Steelers their second-round pick this year. And then Darius Slay is expected to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers once he is officially released by the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's expected to be the team's CB2 behind Joey Porter Jr. Malik Harrison is a special teams ace and inside linebacker depth piece, 2 years, $10 million coming over from the Baltimore Ravens. And then you signed Kenneth Gainwell. Last night we put out a video breaking down what I think he is the perfect RB3 option for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Really, really love that deal. Still waiting to see what the money is on Gainwell's contract. And now you add Brandin Echols as a backup cornerback option for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that, we'll see what happens at slot corner. Will they bring somebody in? Will they not? Will they go with Beanie Bishop Jr. as their starting slot in 2025? I would personally go in a different direction on that. But let me know what you guys think about this signing of Brandin Echols down there in the comments section, A, B, C, D, or F. For what it is, I would give it a B. He's a decent backup, maybe even a B+. He's a pretty darn good backup corner. Last year, there was some injuries in the cornerback room. Corey Trice Jr. dealt with an injury. Joey Porter Jr. dealt with an injury. Dante Jackson dealt with an injury, and it really did hurt them, guys. So Brandin Echols is the type of guy with a ton of starting experience in this league. He's got some production in terms of interceptions as well. So if needed and if called upon, Brandin Echols is the type of depth that the Steelers need potentially to keep their season alive and keep this secondary at tip-top shape. So give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F for the signing of Brandin Echols. That'll be it for today's show, guys. If we get more movement, if Aaron Rodgers decides to sign with the Vikings or the Steelers or the Giants or wherever he ends up going, we are going to have live coverage for you guys right here on Steelers Talk. And, of course, when the Steelers sign their quarterback, we are going to be having a breaking news live show right here on Steelers Talk. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.